This episode of Critical Hit is being brought to you by Mack Weldon. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter the promo code Critical Hit at checkout. Let us dive into that mailbag, and we come up with one from Adam who says, Dear Critical Hit Cast, I just started with the praise for my favorite podcast, which I will go back to the beginning and listen to again whenever I catch up. It's a truly great entertainment, especially the main series, since Rodrigo is an amazing creative game master. My question is based around the fact that I'm not quite as creative, so for the setting I'm making for a 5e game next spring, I've been borrowing ideas from books, films, TV shows, and so on. For my World's Pantheon, I was thinking about basing the gods on Orym, Torque, Randus, Smith, Ket, Trail, Little Sparkle, and Scar. Would that be okay with you guys? I love the idea of having clerics of Torque, gods of fighting, faith, and funnel cakes in my game, but I never want to do so if you didn't think it would be cool. Thanks for the great podcast content. Long may Critical Hit continue. That's from Adam. Here's the thing. I can't stop people from writing slash fiction about Ket and Orym and their adopted baby child.
Adopted?
I don't know where the child came from. I'll be honest, Rob. I was reading and I was like, there's a kid that just shows up and given to Orym. And I'm like, what?
There's this thing called impreg.
Is that what it is? It's not my kid. Ket shows up at the door. Ket shows up at the door with a baby. Look, I can't stop people from writing slash fiction, right? Likewise, if you're playing your own game and you've got your friends and you have gods based on our characters, we can't do anything about that, right? The only thing we can do is ask that if you're trying to do some commercial product, or if you're going to do a podcast, or you're trying to sell something based on our creations, you need to contact us first about that. So other than that, from my perspective, knock yourself out. And I'm the owner of the whole business. I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that are, but...
Sounds awesome. I want to hear all about this.
Yeah.
I would say Ket's already a god. What are you talking about?
I think this sounds great.
And so, again, people can do whatever they want. As long as they're not trying to make money off of it, then I'm fine with it. When someone says, hey, I'm going to start selling this product called Orym whatevers, then that's when I have a problem.
There's a word in there that you missed. It says the good gods.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You know what? Every pantheon needs the Hades. Needs the dark guy sitting in the shadows going, yeah.
A fox god.
And that's why Torque is there.
And then he stabbed me.
Yes. Any other thoughts? Any other reactions? Yes. People think I'm joking about Ket and Orym's little baby child.
No, that's true.
Nope, I've seen that one.
I'm pretty sure you have, because I think you and Brian both retweeted it. And I read it, and I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it. Don't think that I'm offended, because I know that the person who wrote that is listening right now and probably squeeing and going, they're talking about my short story. That's fine. All your stories are fine. All your art with Torque and Randus in the hot tub together, go for it. No one can stop you from creating that art. If you do want to send your slash fiction our way, podcast@majorspoilers.com. We won't be reading it on the air, don't worry, but I will look at it and file it away.
We'll be reading it off the air, though.
Yes, we will.
And we may mention it depending on how much it hurts.
Yes. Mack Weldon contacted us a couple of months ago and said, hey, we are better than whatever you're wearing right now. And I said, oh yeah? Prove it. And so Mack Weldon sent me a bunch of the underwear that they have. They sent me some of the socks. They even sent me this great hat. I love this hat that Mack Weldon has. It's like a baseball cap, but it's vented and everything. Oh, it's so nice. It's one that I love so much. And you know what? I think I kind of got to agree with Mack Weldon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Mack Weldon is a premium men's essentials brand that believes in smart design and premium fabrics. What do I mean by premium fabrics? They've got these socks. I got these pair of blue and gray socks that they sell. My gosh, it made me feel like I was walking on air when I slid these on. They're the most comfortable pair of socks I've ever picked up. As I mentioned, the hat is fantastic. Mack Weldon believes in smart design, premium fabrics, and simple shopping. They have also this line of silver underwear and shirts. And what these are, I didn't get a pair of these, but I'm very interested in checking them out. They have these silver underwear and shirts that are natural antimicrobial, which means that they eliminate the odor, so you don't stink, which is kind of nice, because if you are using these for workouts, which is what I wear them for, because the socks, again, so comfortable. The hat I love, keeps the sun out of my eyes, yet the wind can blow through and keep me cool or let the heat escape, all of that stuff. It's very, very cool and comfortable. And Mack Weldon wants you to be comfortable. So if you don't like your first pair of whatever you get, you can keep it and they will still refund you. No questions asked. Go check out MackWeldon.com and see what they have. If you find that hat that I have and buy it, and I think you'll agree it's super comfortable. The socks, wonderful. The underwear, perfect. Sweatpants, all of that stuff. Go check it out. So what are you waiting for? For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter the promo code Critical Hit at checkout. Thank you, Mack Weldon, for sponsoring this episode of Critical Hit. Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking us out this week. And some of us, in fact, all of us, got some new equipment. We've got some living space.
Yeah.
And now we need to go seek out an astrocartographer. So, Rodrigo, why don't you take it away?
Take it away. But I just gave it to you.
Oh, no. Yes, please. Let us keep it.
Okay. So, last time...
On Critical Hit?
On Critical Hit.
What did happen last time?
On this show we do.
We met some important people on Rutile Island.
Yes.
Which is an island in the Astral Sea where you shouldn't touch the sea.
Exactly.
I think that's just everywhere in the Astral Sea.
Yes.
I'm just saying. You shouldn't.
As we were given a grand tour and met the various...
Yeah, the various peoples.
And references were made to Orem and Randus and Ket committing terrible war crimes.
I don't know if they said terrible.
Or committed them with us.
They said happy war crime.
Yeah, they could be.
They did not say happy. They were very excited to work with you, despite the fact that you were war criminals.
Yes.
And there's only one person that mentioned it.
Several thousand people mentioned it.
There's been no conviction.
There's been no trial.
Oh, boy.
That's right.
That's a good defense you got there.
Thank you.
So everybody gets their new equipment on?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Shiny, shiny.
Any other questions about said equipment?
What color is
Pop
mine?
the hand off, put a bracer on, pop the hand back on.
I'm guessing it's probably like either a very dark brown or black. And the sort of thing where, like, if the light hits it, it's actually just like a very deep green, but under most light, it's going to look like brown or black. Up to you, which one.
I like the deep green that looks black in most light. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. Also, it is hide armor, so if you wanted to have like a furry collar or, just like claws or fangs coming out of the shoulders or whatever, like it's up. That's fine too.
I don't like the furry color, but I'm fine with fangs coming out the shoulders. That sounds pretty neat.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Snake fangs on the vampire.
And then war skirt, loincloth, codpiece. It's up to you.
All of the above.
I don't think I'm gonna stop because I need an adult. I'm gonna show you on the character sheet where you've hurt me, Rodrigo.
Okay.
So the tattoo has to have some kind of flame pattern?
Yeah. So it can either be like a little flame icon, or it can, if you want it to be like something that like wraps around, it just has to look like it's on fire in some way.
Cool. Yeah, I think it'll be basically like a bonfire that but the definitions of the kind of scaly skin on her arm looks a little bit like bits of the flame.
Sounds cool. So, you guys all meet up back at the dock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, you all arrive at the dock, and as you might recall when I described the Dawn's Arena, and that is DAWNCZARINA.
Correct.
Always say things out loud, kids, because it might just sound like something like reasonable, but something else.
Especially if Matthew is on your team.
Well, I think it's probably because I don't hit the Z's very hard, because it's actually difficult for me to make that buzzing noise because of that it doesn't exist in Spanish.
Right.
Also, that Dawn's Arena sounds like a totally reasonable name for a boat.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why, right? It's because it's like, yeah, that sounds like a cool name. It's like, nope, it's actually something else. It's like, well, that's all right too.
That's good. That's fine.
Yeah, it's very confusing because the other boat actually is called the Dawn's Arena. It's just they never know which one they're supposed to be getting on.
Yeah.
And then of course, the Dawn's Arena, yes.
Right, and there's Dawn Serena, who actually owns a boat, which is an entirely different matter.
All right. So you guys arrive at the dock where the Dawn Zarina is docked. And there is a crane that has been erected. And it is, if you'll recall my description of it, this is a long sort of astral ship made out of white stone, and it has kind of a two-pronged front. So basically, there's a crane, and they are loading onto it this thing that is going to basically fit in between those prongs, and it is going to like smooth out so that it has like this sharp forward point. But you can see the connector is this sort of inside a casing in the connector. There's this like spherical piece of bright bronze assemblage that appears to be kind of this like bronze coil wrapped in other metals as well. And that's kind of the part that appears to be what clicks into as the actual hardware. So the crane is sort of moving it forward. There are people with ropes kind of pulling it towards the boat. Pistonella is on the boat, and she's shouting at people to be careful and no to the right, no to the left. What is it called? Starboard! And
I believe we've seen the thing.
Yeah, Sarsa's there, and she turns to you and says, yes, this is in fact the thing. We are, I believe, calling it the spatial super solenoid. That's Pistonella's idea.
Huh.
It is going to allow us to travel a lot faster.
Oh. That's great.
Yes, we didn't want to install it while we were in Drakistan because we had a fear that the attack would come early, and I suppose I don't have to warn you that if any enemy fleet gets a hold of this, if they are able to replicate the technology, it would be ruinous, or at least severely advantageous for them.
Yes.
So it is in our best interest to keep our ship to ourselves.
Okay. Is there like a self-destruct contingency?
No, there isn't, but all of the equipment is sensitive enough that somebody with, say, a sword of burning celestial energy could easily cut through it and leave it unrecognizable.
Noted.
We have one of those on this ship?
She just kind of looks back at the sword on her back. Yeah.
All right.
So the thing clicks on finally, and Pistonella goes down to the engine room to make final adjustments.
So we're going to Shalai. How long will it take with this spatial supersolenoid in place?
Normally, right now, Shalai is on the opposite side of the Pillar of the World from us, so normally it would take us weeks. This should take us minutes.
Wow.
Wait, the cities here move?
Yes.
Oh, that's unsettling.
Orem reaches into his handy haversack, pulls out a map. Here, this might explain it.
I look at the map.
It's an old map from season 3.
Yeah, it's a bunch of oblongs.
Cool.
Yep.
Does it have rotational patterns?
Yep. I mean, you're basically looking at a little solar system with some labels. And yeah, Shalai's orbit is really wacky. There's also a mark on it that says central cyst.
What does central cyst mean?
We took care of that.
Yeah, don't need to worry about that anymore.
Are you sure? Because it seems like a lot of the things you took care of are suddenly becoming things that we have to worry about now.
Well,
That's the entire reason they brought us up here to start with the first time. So presumably if they were wanting to bring us back, it's not a problem still.
You did mention war crimes. What's that about?
Talking to Sarsa?
Yes.
It's all very hazy, of course, but ancient artifacts were destroyed. Pacts were stricken, perhaps without proper oversight, as well as several some direct involvement by otherworldly entities that might have violated this or that, summonings within areas where that should not have happened. But like I said, it's all very hazy. I believe your past handler had the presence of mind to remove you from the Astral Sea after all of that went down. So there was never any convictions, at least not for you.
Oh, okay. So is this going to be a problem if we suddenly show up in Shalai or other places where these events played out?
No. Right now, Shalai has bigger problems.
Someone attacking Shalai?
No. Well, not from the
Not
outside
yet.
anyway.
Internal strife.
Does this have anything to do with the Temple of Wolf?
Well, it's hard to directly place the sequence of events, but almost certainly yes.
Orem just stares at Ket.
And
All
what is
right.
the temple?
You weren't there.
All right, machinery's ready.
Well, then I think
Okay.
we should disembark then, right? Or
Yeah.
ship out, or
Well,
whatever
you
they
should
say.
embark.
Yes, whatever.
We've already disembarked.
Or we're disembarking
we on
this
the
island.
map? I'm looking at this map and I don't see any indication of where Rutile Island is located.
It's secret.
I understand that.
Yes,
I'm
only
looking at
only the major cities are on that map. There's actually a lot of openly known islands that are not on that map.
Ah,
Yeah, say, where did you two go last time?
Oh, over here, pointing at the map area.
Yeah, Orem points at the entire map.
That's not very helpful.
That's very Orem, though.
Because you guys definitely went all over the place.
I mean, I just went to these 5 places. Or Vecna's place isn't on there, is it?
No, it's not.
Makes sense.
Oh, Pistonella says as she starts getting off, I also took some time to install a seeing pool, so that should allow you to communicate with anybody who's at the seeing pool here.
Huh.
What's a seeing pool?
She climbs back on. Come on, I'll show you.
Okay.
She walks down, and there's basically a pillar with a stone bowl attached to it, it's all part of the same thing. And the bowl's probably about 1.5 feet in diameter. And she pours some water in and says, "If you know the ritual, then you should be able to contact us at our own seeing pool."
She looks at Oram and Ket and Randus. It's do you know the ritual?
Oh yeah, the ritual is, and she waves her hands over it, "Seeing pool activate."
Oh, that's
get the hang of it.
Very complicated. I like it.
And yep, when she does that, you can actually see a ceiling through it.
So are the seeing pools only connected to the specific ones?
Yep.
Oh. I wasn't paying much attention when they made it for us last time.
Well, I think those were in a network. Are you talking about the ones in Shalai?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those were networked somehow. That's mostly primal magic. This is a sort of a arcane hot patch for it. Yeah, there's still things that arcane magic can't duplicate everything that primal magic can do. And, most arcane practitioners can't be bothered to study primal magic, so it's difficult to find any workarounds. But I did it because I'm very smart.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
No problem. You guys have a nice trip. Try not to break my... Oh, no. But you can call me on this thing if you want. Don't break my spatial super solenoid.
Okay.
We'll do our best.
You have heard what we did last time, right?
She's out. The ship starts moving.
That was abrupt.
I think I'm gonna go down and check this solenoid in action.
I think I'll go to the front of the ship and see how this thing works.
Better hurry. It sounds like you might miss the trip if you don't get there fast enough.
All right. So who goes to the deck? Who goes to the machine room?
I'll stay on the deck.
Okay.
I go to the machine room. Randus does.
Okay.
Sakara will accompany Randus to the machine room.
Okay. So the ship gets out of the dock and out of the little cove area and then out into the open ocean and moves at a reasonable clip. Up in the helm, the captain gives the signal. Sarsa nods, and we'll say the captain's actually at the helm, and he does something, and you guys hear a distinct powering up buzz. Down in the machine room, you see basically things sort of rods slide into places, and essentially it goes from, it's here's the core of it with some parallel rods. The rods kind of change direction and form kind of like a cat's cradle around it and begin energizing, and the sphere itself also begins to energize. It begins to glow with a strange pink energy, and out in front of the boat, basically maybe we'll say about 100 yards in front of the boat, an arc of pink light appears, sort of this semicircle that is wide enough that either side of basically the boat could or the ship could sail through it, but it moves along with the ship as it's moving forward.
Okay.
It begins to solidify, and essentially it becomes rather than just a single line, it becomes a lattice arc Essentially, you can imagine it as being a ring, but half of it is submerged. Then the coil begins to move in a different direction. The rods rearrange themselves again, and basically these beams of green energy appear around the ship, and every once in a while, one of them will sort of blast forward and lock itself onto the pink energy ring. And more they just kind of like latch onto it and begin to form a secondary ring, also a lattice work of green energy that goes over the other ring, not in front of it, but above it, basically a slightly wider ring. Once this happens, you see both of the rings begin to turn gently, but they turn in separate directions. The pink one turns clockwise, the green one counterclockwise, and also they stop moving forward. And as you stop focusing on the rings and start focusing in the area in between them, you see that what you see through the rings is not what was behind the rings. You can actually see a very vague outline of a coast past the rings, which if you look to either side of the rings is not there. And then the ship sails through the rings. As you go through them, it feels weird. Like it's just kind of like weird and tingly and maybe mildly unpleasant. And once the entire ship has gone through, you can look back and you see Rutile Island off in the distance through the rings, which then collapse in a bright flash of energy. The solenoid stops moving, rearranges itself back, and starts to cool down. And you guys are somewhere else.
Well, that was cool.
Hmm.
How smooth does the motion feel from the deck?
It feels like you're still sailing forward. There was no real change in that.
Crazy.
Did that feel like all arcane energy, or was there like science energy?
I mean, science energy is arcane energy in this edition, at least.
Ah, okay.
I would hope so.
Like, yeah, Randus is pretty much all arcane.
Hey, I'm not arcane.
Nope.
You're a vampire.
You're primal.
I'm primal.
Well,
So,
it looks
yes.
like we're very close to shore then.
Yep. Well, sort of. You can see the shore, and it takes a little while of continuing to move towards the shore to realize that the entire horizon is the shore. Like, you are approaching a really massive landmass. As you get closer, you begin to see lights. It is currently evening, so you start to see lights in the said landmass. And you also see other ships in the distance. And it's really clear that the captain is being very evasive. Sarsa comes down from the helm and says, what did you think?
Very impressive.
Well, apparently it's based on your studies, so...
Oh, okay. Well, then it turned out perfectly.
Well, good. I'm glad.
This wasn't the maiden voyage, though, was it? Or had you tested this out before?
We had tested it out before.
Okay.
We uninstalled it so that... because we were afraid that it might fall into the wrong hands.
Sure. Well, congratulations. You now have the fastest ship that I've ever been on.
Well, thank you. But really, you have the fastest ship you've ever been on.
Oh, I guess you're right. So we'll be docking soon, or are we trying to avoid something?
We're definitely trying to avoid attention. The charts that our cartographer was looking for he had to go into somewhat hostile territory to find. So we are going to be docking in a somewhat dangerous area. But
you said Shalai was being attacked from within. What's going on in Shalai?
A few years back, a temple for Lolth was built in Shalai, and that allowed the creation of a direct pathway, not just from the Underdark and the Feydark, but also from the Demon Web itself. So there was a mass exodus into Shalai of Drow.
I see.
Of course, not all Drow are fanatical followers of Lolth, but to be perfectly honest, the majority of them are. So they were essentially an invading force that appeared fully formed within the center of the city.
Okay, and where are they now?
In the city.
I mean, have they claimed an area for their own, or is there a constant battle, or...
No, right now the borders are pretty well set. They have taken over the funerary neighborhoods, as well as the former Eladrin enclave, and a bunch of other places. But Shalai is a truly massive city, so there's only so far they could spread.
What happened to the Eladrin that were in the city?
Well, they either got chased out or killed, I suppose.
Okay, then. Well, thank you for that bit of knowledge. Where's Ket at?
Ket? Probably wherever we were.
No, so are you standing next to me? Did you hear all of this? Do I have to give you another long stare?
I didn't follow you to the front of the ship.
Okay. All right.
Kind of wherever we got on, because it seemed like going anywhere else was a waste of time.
Okay. All right. Well, let's join the rest of our friends, I guess. Thank you for sharing that information. We'd actually stumbled upon a drow city that had gone empty, and we were wondering where they were at, and now we know. So walk back over to Ket, stare at him.
What?
Found out where all the drow went.
Oh?
Shalai.
Oh.
Temple of Lolth, all that stuff.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Go looking for Randus.
Randus is explaining the finer points of how this thing works to Sakar.
It's very interesting, though. It's quite, hey, Orm.
Oh, you should have seen this from the outside.
I'll definitely have to check it out next time.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. Lights and colors, and wow, pow, zoom, and you're there.
This could be exceedingly useful, I think.
So, it's all based on our designs.
I guess so.
Yeah, very neat. Worked perfectly. Congratulations.
Well, I didn't build this one, but yeah.
Well, the idea, though.
I suppose.
Yeah. I think we'll be docking shortly, so we should come up.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, that Drow City?
Yeah?
Remember we were wondering where they went?
Uh-huh.
They're in Shalai. All of them.
Oh.
They've taken over parts or all of the Eladrin enclave.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's get ready.
Okay.
So we go back upstairs.
You are on the dock as you begin to, or you are on the deck as you begin to pull up to the dock. Waiting at this dock is a dark hooded figure, attended by two other dark hooded figures.
My kind of people.
Are those our dark hooded figures?
Sarsa nods.
Okay.
At least I think they are. You might want to keep a hand on your weapons just in case.
Fair enough.
He usually doesn't leave, so.
Little sparkle disappears.
Okay. Now give me a stealth check.
Sure.
Into the shadow of Sakaar, and she is gone.
41.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
Yep. So once the ship docks, the things are moored, and Sarsa motions for you all to follow her, and she goes down to where this figure is standing. As you get closer, it becomes clear that this is a drow. She's got dark, sort of bluish black skin, white eyes without any pupils. You can see white, like a braid of white hair sort of tucked into her cloak. She is looking right at you guys, but her two people who are in black clothes are kind of looking around, making sure that nobody's like peeping on you.
Okay.
Sarsa approaches her, nods, says, "This is Najit. She's one of our informants here." And the drow lady nods at you.
Hello.
Are you all ready to receive the package? Sarsa nods. And she motions to one of her people. And he scurries off, comes back out, scurries off into one of the dock, warehouse areas. Comes back out with another dark hooded figure, and then in between them, a very nervous looking birdman. This is a Kenku. He's very tall. He's got sort of bluish black feathers and a curved, bright yellow beak with a axe-like protrusion on the top. Sort of his beak curves downward, and then there's an upward curving hatchet.
So almost like a toucan?
Kind of. So it's he's kind of got maybe not as prolonged a beak as a toucan, but the sort of nut crushing, forward, curved down beak of a tropical bird.
So does he look like a Kenku that would be from the southern continent then?
No, you've never seen a Kenku that looks like this.
Okay.
So they bring him over. He waves. He's wearing dark robes, kind of like the other ones are, because he's trying to be sneaky. He's got a big backpack with scrolls and stuff poking out of it. He's like, "Oh, hey, Sarsa. So are we ready to go?" And she nods. And he's like, "Okay, well, hey, hello, everybody." And he just kind of walks past you and seems to be in a big hurry to get on the ship.
Hi.
That was odd.
Najit looks at Sarsa. "Are we all set?" Sarsa nods. And Sarsa turns around and motions for everybody to get back on the ship.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We get back on the ship.
Orm just keeps his eyes locked on the drow the entire time.
Yeah. You're pretty sure one of them is keeping its eyes on you guys. It's one of them was looking around, and the other one is that's what happens when you meet Mr. Johnson for an exchange. So you guys are back on the ship.
Again.
Orm continues to stare at the drow from the ship.
They're helping us, Orm.
Drow cat.
Yeah, we have the same ancestors, and?
Yes.
Are you all right?
As soon as the ship pulls away from the dock.
So yeah, the dock hands and ship peoples get the ship ready to go, and you guys start pulling away from the dock. And the Kenku looks around and he's like, "Oh, thanks for coming to get me. Things were getting a little tense in there. I'm Pixo. It's good to meet you."
Hi.
Hello.
Little Sparkle reappears. Nice to meet you too.
Ah,
She does that.
I guess
I really
it's more
don't
of like
get
a
used to it.
like a
Sorry to startle you. I was worried we might have trouble on the dock.
No, it's fine. It's good to see a beak. Honestly, I can't. This is gonna sound terrible, but I can't tell drow apart from each other, so I never know if like the guys I'm supposed to be with, or if they're like different ones. It's terrible.
It's nice to see that there are Kenku here. Are you a native of the Astral Sea?
Yeah.
Huh.
You're not?
No, I'm from the southern continent.
Oh, one of those prime material Kenku.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were Kenku in the Astral Sea. I didn't really know anything about the Astral Sea until like yesterday, though. So.
Well, legend says this is where we're from.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But you can't trust legends. All you can trust are maps.
Yes.
What kind of trouble were you having back there?
Oh, just trying to get into secret libraries and find charts and maps that might be useful.
Okay. And did you?
Oh, yeah. Found lots of stuff.
Excellent.
Are there only drow in the city now?
No, but this is a pretty heavily drow-controlled area. That's why they have those patrol ships.
Oh.
Are those patrol ships supposed to be getting closer? Sarsa looks at it. She looks up at the captain. We've got trouble. She looks at the group. This Pixel, you might want to get under the deck with your maps and charts. Do you all think you can walk us out of this one without conflict?
Depends on. We can certainly try. Can you tell me a little bit more about these patrols and what they might want from us?
Well, it depends on what you want your cover to be. If you're merchants, they're going to want to see stock. If you're diplomats, they're going to want to see papers.
All right. Do we have anything on hands that could help with that?
I don't have anything like that on me, but if you start grilling the crew now, we might be able to pull whatever you need together. I'm going to get Pixel below decks, and I'm going to go stand guard by that thing that we don't want anybody getting their hands on.
Sounds good.
I suppose name recognition probably would get us into more trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I did give them the city.
So, interestingly, these ships appear to be ships. Like, they're not stone, things. They're actually appear to be made out of this sort of like woven together, like dark rattan type stuff. They're basically longboats. They have a big lantern on top or in the front, and they've got maybe 6 people rowing, and the oars make these crackling, sparking things when they meet the astral sea, and it propels the thing forward. Only one of them is approaching you now. Climbing up to the front of it are 2 drow that appear to be officers of some type.
How many of us still have hats of disguise?
I do.
I'm 90% certain I have one.
I'm not sure I do.
Yep.
I don't think there were more than 2, right?
I think we only made the 2.
Yep.
But
Because I don't have it on my inventory list.
No, not seeing it on mine either.
Okay.
No, you definitely had one because I remember you disguising yourself as a Kenku.
Yeah, I've got one.
No, I was talking about Orem because he was talking about his beautiful feathers and weird eyes.
That's because you guys were playing magical hats.
Yeah. Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Or I guess musical hats.
Yeah, we were tossing the hats around to whoever needed them most at any given moment.
Sure, that makes sense.
Which currently is probably Sparkle and Orem.
Yeah, I mean, if there are Kenku on the Astral Sea, I think mostly it would just be Orem. So, because I'm guessing Eladrin are not on the good side of the drow.
Understatement.
She'll pull her hat out and give it to Orem.
Orem puts it on.
Okay. Is he going to activate the hat?
I suppose he's going to activate the hat.
And what will Orem look like?
He will look like a human.
Okay. Care to describe this human?
Oh man, humans are so average. They all look so alike to Orem. Average height, average build. Kinda talks like this.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a me.
Yes. Kind of like like if someone did a watercolor painting of Randus and then kind of smeared it around a little bit, it'd be all smoothed out. That's what Orem looks like.
Looks like Odo.
Looks like Uncanny Valley.
Yes, kind of like Odo.
Oh my god.
I was expecting at least some weird amalgamation between the 3 most human people in the group.
Yes.
So,
but I will just slip off to the sides into the shadow areas.
So I'm trying to scramble around, get some ideas. It's like, so is Pixo, like, should we assume that he's like wanted at this point, and that just saying we're picking up someone from the city would be not a good excuse?
Who are you asking?
Oh, sorry, the our handler.
Sarsa, she went to the engine room to smash things if
things go bad.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to go try to either find her or Pixo, whichever I find first, to ask that question.
Yeah, Pixo's just right downstairs.
Okay. So Pixo, how much trouble did you get yourself into? Because I mean, the easiest thing is we could say we were picking someone up here, but if that would be bad, then let me know.
Well, I don't think they know that it's me. So you could say you were picking me up, but then they'll be like, what were you doing in the city? And I'll be like, finding secret charts? I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. All right, it won't be you that I'll tell anyone that we're picking up then. I mean, is it... this seems like a big city? Do people get a lot of visitors here? If you've got a reason to be in the city, and you can be from the other side of the city, but these are drow. They care about drow stuff. So if you got business on the other side of the city, you shouldn't be on this side of the city. Got it. So we'd only want to have business with drow stuff. What do the drow do on this side of the city that we might have business with?
Stab people, poison people. I mean, they care about ancient, arcane stuff, certainly. They're always looking for that.
Cool. Do they sell their poisons?
Sure.
Perfect. All right, I can handle this then.
All right. The boat pulls up, and the officer shouts, "Kill your engines! Prepare to be boarded!" And the captain up at the helm is like, shuts everything down. Is like, "Well, I hope you guys know what you're doing."
Usually,
Sparkles will be like, "Let me take the lead."
Okay.
Okay. So, some drow or a couple drow climb onto the ship. This will be a skills challenge.
Oh boy!
Ooh.
Yay! I love those.
I do not.
So does this look like a boat full of people, or is it like a small craft with?
It is a small craft.
Okay.
So the goal of the skill challenge is to not get caught. Basically, to make it out the other end without drawing any more attention to yourselves.
So without undermining that, does it seem like there's too many people to kill without being noticed?
It does seem like there's too many people to kill without being noticed, seeing as how only 2 of them are on your ship right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's about 6 others down there.
There you go. All right.
Okay, so looks like Little Sparkle got a 41?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 30. The
30.
41 was for my stealth check.
Right. Looks like Sakar has a 31.
Yep.
Cat with 18.
Yarp.
Oram with 24.
24.
And Randus with 29.
Yep.
I don't know why I bother rolling initiative ever.
Well, you don't either.
Because you have to have a number.
Last.
Yes, you do need to have a number. The drow officers, they're wearing like a leather-based sort of jackets with like high collars, because these are sea drow. And
Better than the D drow, not as good as the B drow.
Yep. And they have rapiers and also daggers. But they're not, they're obviously acting like they have authority here, so they're not like, give me your money or anything. They're just like coming on because they belong here and they're going to try their best to inspect your ship. So yes, Sakar gets the first move.
Little Sparkle said to let her take the lead. Can I hold my move until after she goes?
Yep.
All right. She said to let her take the lead. I'm going to let her take the lead.
Okay. So Sakar will go after Little Sparkle.
Yep. Sakar will very, very subtly motion with his hand for her to go.
Then she will walk up to the person who seems to be most in charge of the boarding crew and say, how can I help you?
We do not have any documentation of this ship, so we need to know what your business is and what documentation you have.
A little bit of a discreet shopping trip, I'm afraid. And she but in like a very non-threatening way, kind of gestures to her dagger and like this cool scorpion hilt.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a bluff check.
What?
Oh, no.
Oh. Off to an awesome start.
That is a botch.
Can I get that social reroll?
Spend an action for
So
it?
I'm going to use empathic read.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Hey, there we go. 35.
Okay.
Better?
That is a success in that Little Sparkle starts to say that, and Ket, she just sees Ket out of the corner of her eye, and he is like clearly like, these guys are by the book, do not say anything like that. And she just kind of maybe doesn't show him the dagger and says that it was a shopping trip, and they're just kind of not entirely sure what is happening. So it's a success. Nothing has escalated, but it looks like these guys are not like these guys are in here to find something bad, and they are actively looking for it. The other guy the guy that Sparkle is not talking to is just going to start walking towards the hold. And it's the Sakar.
And the hold is where the thing is,
Yes.
where they don't want us to be.
Yeah, basically, if one of these guys gets below decks, it's going to be a huge problem.
All right, using athletics, would it be possible for me to unobtrusively be completely obtrusive to the gentleman headed towards the hold? In a way that does not seem threatening or intimidating, but definitely seems to be Sakar right in your way. Would that
yes,
be
if you can.
athletics?
Yes, I'll let you do that if you can give me a description of what that looks like.
Okay. So as the gentleman steps forward, he's clearly going for the hold. Sakar is going to move as though he's trying to get out of the way, but somehow actually end up in the way in a very Ricky Gervais sort of fashion, but making sure that the gentleman does not get past him. Oh, wait, no, over there. No.
All right, we'll call that mostly a footwork thing, so I'll allow it.
That would be athletics.
Yep.
And I can do the thing. 34.
Nice.
34 is a success. So, yes, Sakar manages to get in the way. That guy's definitely not happy about it, but nobody's been stabbed yet.
It's the yet that makes it funny.
Yes. It is to Randus.
So, with this gentleman starting to head down, would I be able to come up with some sort of technical jargon as to why there might not be a good idea to go down there because of poisonous fumes or
We've
something?
had a small reactor leak.
Yes.
Everything's fine
Everything's
now.
fine down here. How are you?
How are you?
See, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yep, I'll allow it.
Using Arcana?
Yep, you might, because you're, I feel like if you're lying, it's bluff, so you might actually have to explain exactly what's happening downstairs, just in
Okay.
such a way that it's, so
Obfuscated.
convoluted, yeah, that...
Yes. Dazzle him with science. Okay. Or
Someone
befuddle.
mixed bleach with ammonia when they were trying to clean the hold.
Is that
Yep.
the bonus I'm working with? Just making sure. No. What did I get that number? Okay. 42.
42 is a success.
Awesome.
So yes, after Sakar gets in that guy's way, Randa steps up and tells them all about the problematic engine troubles that they're having. So far, maintaining the attention of the guy who was going to go downstairs. The other guy really doesn't want to spend a lot of time talking to Sparkle and is starting to sniff around as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is to Orem.
Orem took a class on the Drow.
Uh-huh.
And he's going to use his history to try and recollect what is the one thing that frightens or confuses the Drow more than anything.
Okay.
Will that work?
Yeah.
Okay. 43.
That's a success. And the answer is if an Eladrin were to appear here all of a sudden.
Okay.
Oh,
Just
no.
let yourself get captured, and then we can get away with our cool technology.
Take one for the team. No. Oh.
All right. It's Ket's turn. It really looks like Orem is considering some kind of weird play here.
Worm's already considering some kind of weird play.
It's called Hamlet.
Check. Yep. I'm going to use Beguiling Tongue to give myself a +5 on this. And I'm going to Diplomacy. Basically start to lead the Drow where I want him to be going on the ship and not necessarily where he wants to be going on the ship.
That's really solid. Go for it.
G-Bus. That's a 32.
32 is a failure.
Oh,
All right, let's
I
go
was
ahead and
afraid
spend
of-
my action point.
Oh no!
That's a 40.
40 is a success.
Jeez.
All right, it really looks like Ket has their attention and is kind of taking them around. Maybe you're going up to the helm to look at things there, talk to the captain.
Mhm.
So looks like there are going to be 3, well, maybe not 3 rolls either way. I guess it could be split. But you guys really need to think about getting these guys off the ship.
I've got one.
All right, it is the little Sparkle.
I was trying to come up with a way to possibly get them off the ship, but I can't come up with anything that's like really destructive, like that isn't just destructive. So yeah, I will, if they're heading towards the hold where, if I see where Het is going and want to make sure that our cartographer doesn't get caught, I will sneak down once they don't have my attention and try to hustle him away.
Okay.
So can I make a stealth check?
Yep.
Sweet. Blah. That's a 31, which we know fails.
That is correct.
Action
So I
point.
guess we're doing pretty well.
Oh,
Oh,
that's what I like.
no,
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
No, I am
I mean-
2 rolls away. Don't do that.
Ryan is 2 rolls away, and Orm is going to take off his friggin' hat.
Okay, fine. I just got this new item that only works if I spend my action point in combat, and so it's just
I
a
see.
disincentive. No,
Fair enough.
I'll reroll.
Okay.
All right, there we go. A 39.
39 is a success.
Okay.
Yeah, Ket takes them on the grand tour, and he's basically can't stop them from going down into the hole without, or into the hold without really physically stopping them. So Sparkle is able to get down there and sneak away Pixo as well as anything else that might be incriminating. But they are below decks and only a few steps from the engine room. And it is the Sakar.
So they're below decks.
Yes.
They're out of the view of the people on their boat.
Mhm.
You know, I feel like it's a cliche for me to resort to swift and blinding violence at a time like this, but I kind of wanna.
Oh, shoot.
Probably not a good idea.
Probably not.
How are we going to get them off the boat?
Can you start a fire on their boat?
Yes, I can. I can start a fire. I can start a fire a lot of places. The question is whether I can start a fire without them knowing that I just started a fire on their
Sure.
boat.
That is the important one, which I'm just going to say you can't because I would make you make a stealth check to set fire to their boat without being noticed, and you literally can't make a stealth check now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, right. Nice.
okay.
Can you get like a spirit to like distract them or something weird?
Could theoretically roll nature and see if I can get a spirit to distract them or something weird.
How far away are we from the dock?
Far, like pretty far. I mean, you can still see it from here.
Can you make some ghostly spirit things start to appear on the dock to maybe catch their attention?
Yes. I think I can.
Some weird lights that would attract their attention?
Well, the question is going to be, I can sure try. Yeah. I mean, would that would fall under a nature check, correct?
Sure.
If I were trying to communicate with some spirits here in the astral sea and say, spirit friends, hey, it's me, Sakar. How's it going? Or rather, spirit friends, it is I, Sakar of Oblia. And I need you to distract these creatures. 33.
That is going to fail you. Got any action points there?
I do. If I use an action point, do I have to roll something different?
Nope.
No, you reroll.
You
I
just
can reroll
reroll.
with an action point? All right, well.
Oh.
Worse.
Gnurp. Gnip, gnurp, gnop.
All right. Anybody
Hang on,
got any other rerolls in your pocket?
Let me check on something, because that does not look like the right number. No, it is. I was thinking that I hadn't updated my macro, and I apparently did. So
Good effort.
dang it. I tried.
All right.
There are spirits, and they're like, everywhere! Holy crap!
Nobody's looking at Sakar, so he is able to go off over there and start communing with the local spirits. And the local spirits are so interesting. They're just so different and strange and marvelous, really. I mean, look at that one. That one's like glowing. And look at that other one. It's like just so cool, so interesting. What was I thinking about? Oh, well, these guys are great. And so Sakar kind of takes himself out of this by being fascinated by the local spirit fauna.
Well, they are fascinating.
Yes. Brandis.
Oh boy, what to do?
Hopefully not something that has to do with Arcana.
He can't.
I can't. I did that last time. Yeah. I'm kind of thinking healing. If I could maybe whip up some sort of quick knockout dart and get one of them without the other noticing, and then we could take it from there.
Set up a bomb.
Yeah, if you wanted to try and like contact drug one of them, I guess, yeah, you know.
Okay.
I'd let you do that. Maybe make
It has to tie
them
into that gas leak from down below that they shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's kind of my idea.
Something
if
that'll
someone
make
picks
I
up
like
on
it.
that and runs with that thread, maybe.
Sure. I'll allow it.
Okay. And my heal these days is a plus 17, so this could be dangerous. 29, that's not enough.
That is not enough.
I'll spend my action point.
Okay.
Nope, worse. Okay.
Shoot.
Yep.
Plus 7.
You and Matthew.
All right. That is another failure. So Randus gets like a little dip of something noxious onto like his one of his metal fingers, and he goes to like smear it on the drow and tries to be super slick. And as he's like getting near, like the drow just looks right at him and like grabs his rapier and says, "Please step back, sir."
Okay.
Drow have plus 5 against wet willies.
Yep. All right.
Which, with their ears, you would think that they would be like more susceptible.
Yeah, they would be highly susceptible to wet
But they're
willies.
super sensitive ears.
Oh, maybe that's it.
It's a training bonus. It's like
Yeah.
dwarves against giants.
Drow ears are so sensitive they can hear a broken arm.
All right. So it is to Oram.
Well, Orm knows what will get the drow all in a tizzy.
Oh, God.
So he's going to use a trick he hasn't used in years. Ghost sound. And it's going to sound like coming from the docks, someone shouting, "There's Eldrin on the docks! Quick, everyone, there are Eldrin on the docks!" 35.
Nice.
Really? On a bluff check?
No, that's Arcana.
Really? On a
Ghost-
bluff check?
Ghost sound is a spell.
That's going to take a bluff.
What is your bluff bonus?
11.
Would you like to try something different?
Sure. Something.
I mean, I will let you use Arcana if you do something much bigger than, hey guys, there's a Meladrin over here. Like if you do a big enough
An
distraction.
illusory Eldrin on the Drow ship.
Like if you turn someone into mushrooms.
See, the thing is, I don't want to attack them, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I could use, what about Daunting Presence? We could probably use that.
Yep, what's it read?
It says, Daunting Presence. Shadows deepen around you, your voice deepens to a rumble, and you appear to grow larger as you confront those foolish enough to dispute your wishes.
So intimidate?
So that's an Arcana roll for an Intimidate, right?
Arcana Fear. It doesn't say
I
anything
mean, what's the actual
What are you?
description of the power? Like
effect.
what does it
Until
do?
the end of your next turn, you gain +5 power to intimidate checks. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's also 11.
So is that 11 with the bonus?
That's what the bad is. The bonus is 11.
You can make illusions, right?
I can make illusions.
Make an illusionary Eldrin.
On their ship.
Fine, I will do that. I will make an
Dance.
illusionary Eldrin on their ship,
Dancing back and forth.
dancing
Okay.
around.
I will let you just keep that roll then.
All right.
Just dancing around.
No, he's not
Yeah.
dancing around, but he
Yeah,
does.
what
He
is
just-
that?
There's an Eldrin that appears at the bow of their ship and just stares at them menacingly with a hand on a hilt of a sword. And in the other hand, a wand pointed at all of them.
Okay. You guys hear a lot of commotion coming from the Drow boat. And sure enough, the other two guys come out from below the deck to see an Eldrin, and basically everyone on their ship taking up arms. One of them pulls out his sword, and the other one looks very suspiciously at all of you.
Oh, darn.
I would like to use insight here. Determining what's going on. Because, I was also down there with them. And let them know that they should probably get over to their ship. It looks like it's being attacked.
Yeah, that sounds like a bluff check.
Yeah, it does sound like a bluff check. I can't do a bluff check right now. My bluff is a 13.
Using insight, it would be, don't you think you should get over to your ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, insight is unfortunately very difficult to justify when you're at the goal line.
Yeah.
Insight is an early skill challenge skill.
Do you have Intimidate?
No.
What do you got?
You have diplomacy. Here, let me help you.
Yeah, he already used
that's
it last time, though.
Well,
Darn it.
The first time.
Darn it.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. We've got insight, nature, or streetwise that are actually roles that are capable of succeeding. And Arcana, which you just used.
Yep.
And endurance, which isn't going to help. History isn't going to help.
I do like sometimes just to myself, I think of it as like a sports announcer. And it's like, up to the bat is Rob with Cat. Up, but unfortunately he has locked himself out of diplomacy and his team has locked him out of Arcana. What's he going to do now? Now, this guy has been all smiles all season, but this is going to get tough for him, don't you think? I think so. Let's see what he does.
How about nature? To
Okay.
have Shadow attack the, swoop in past the illusory Eldrin.
And to cement the threat of the illusory Eldrin?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll allow it.
All right. And I'm also going to activate Speak with Spirits on this. To
Sounds
get
like a good idea.
+1. Nope.
All right.
That's
You got any
26.
rerolls there?
I used it
no.
on the first one.
Fail.
Do you have an action point still? Oh, no, you already
used
used
it.
that.
You used
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid at this point we're
Yep.
about to have
Reasonably
to kill
certain
someone.
I'm out of.
It's all my fault for saying we're doing well.
Yeah, you really should know better. The universe hates us, remember?
We'll also stacking the 3 Arcana guys, one right after the other.
Yeah.
Bad planning.
All right. It's not bad planning. It's initiative.
It's bad planning.
It's bad planning to have 3 Arcana guys in one team.
Yes.
Kinda, yes.
Well, that's a problem from 8 years ago. So.
Yeah.
It's also problematic for Ket to go last.
So here's what happens. There's 2 drow on your ship. One of them heroically jumps off the ship and dives at the Eladrin to try to cut into him. A shadow eagle appears and attacks him, but the other guy is like looking right at Ket when that happens, and he can tell that Ket just made that happen. But because he's like standing right, like he just went over to see what the problem was with the ship. He's like standing right at the edge, and the captain just like guns it. He just like kicks on the engines and he just starts ripping out. He like smashes into the other ship. The guy on the ship loses his balance. But as he falls, he just tosses a bunch of stuff onto the hull of the ship and manages to grab on to his own ship as the Cloud Serena or the Dawn Serena starts to pull out. The other ship got hit hard enough that it doesn't immediately give chase, but pretty soon those things that he put on the hull start to glow and they begin to eat through the hull.
No.
Oh, crud.
Bug out of here.
Well, we need Can we?
Can you guys patch those things?
Can we tell what they are?
Yeah, they appear to be glowing spiderlings that are eating through the hull.
Oh, great.
I'll start trying to stab some of them.
I'll start trying to hack them.
I'll start trying to shoot them off.
Shoot him.
Okay. You guys do that, and eventually you get all of them off with a few issues. Some of the ones that you got close to kind of burst, and you got some of their gunk on you.
Yeah.
We'll say for you melee guys, so maybe Sakar and Randus, maybe try to punch one.
Okay.
Everyone else didn't actually get anything too problematic on them, although when they fall into the astral sea, they leave this like brilliant, like wide glowing spots where they fell. So it's like very easy to see which direction your ship went. Fortunately, you guys get to cheat, but it probably takes you a little while to get far enough and use the thing without being seen. You do make it out of there with, just some severe damage. Just some severe damage to your ship.
Just
great.
Severe damage. Big holes in the boat.
That did not go as expected. Drow.
Well, we knew we'd have to find them at some point.
Well, why don't we make it the rest of the way back home if we can, and have everyone join us back here next week. Thanks so much for checking us out. Oh boy, our first skills challenge of the season, and it's off to a great start.
Yeah. Hey, nobody rolled a 1.
Podcast at majorspoilers.com. Until next time, just hoping all of your dice rolls are better than little sparkles.
This podcast is copyright 2018 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.